All right, so get this. Today we're diving into something pretty fascinating, the possible connection between ancient mysteries, extraterrestrial races, and the origins of black people on Earth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? We've got a whole bunch of sources, everything from ancient texts to uh, esoteric teachings to modern science. I mean, it's going to be quite the ride. I'm excited to unpack all of this with you.
It really is intriguing to think about how these different, how can I put it, perspectives, I guess, might come together to reveal something that's been hidden, a story that challenges the usual way we think about where humans come from.
Totally. And right at the heart of this whole exploration are two figures, Serapis Bey and Epaphus.
Okay.
Plus, there's this possible link to something called the Vega Mystery Schools, which are said to have branches in Sirius and the Pleiades.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've heard of the Pleiades star cluster, of course, but the Vega Mystery Schools are new to me.
All right.
So let's start there. What exactly are these mystery schools? What makes them so important?
Well, essentially, mystery schools were ancient centers of learning, often focused on spiritual or esoteric stuff.
Yeah.
They existed throughout history and in various cultures, sort of acting as repositories of knowledge and wisdom.
Okay.
This knowledge was often passed down through secret teachings and initiation rituals. The Vega Mystery Schools, at least according to some of the sources you've gathered, are said to have originated in the Vega star system.
So we're talking about a possible extraterrestrial connection right from the beginning.
That's what some of the sources suggest, yeah. The Vega Mystery Schools are believed to be like the root of many other mystery schools throughout the galaxy,
Wow.
including those in Sirius and the Pleiades, which are star systems with their own rich mythology, and connections to ancient cultures here on Earth.
Right, okay. So we have these ancient centers of learning, possibly with extraterrestrial origins, and they're linked to star systems that humans have been fascinated by for ages.
Yeah.
So how does all of this tie back to Serapis Bey and Epaphus?
Okay, well, Serapis Bey, according to the sources, is considered what's called an ascended master.
Ascended master, huh?
Yeah. Now, that term might sound a bit out there, a bit esoteric.
Sure.
But in essence, it refers to a being who has achieved a high level of spiritual enlightenment, someone who's transcended the limitations of, the physical realm.
So like graduating to a higher level of consciousness.
Yeah, exactly. Think of it like, leveling up in a cosmic video game.
I like that. So an ascended master is basically someone who's reached the highest level of spiritual understanding.
Pretty much, yeah.
What's Serapis Bey's connection to these Vega Mystery Schools?
Well, the sources connect him directly to them, suggesting he played a key role in their teachings.
Interesting.
He's associated with wisdom, healing, and ascension, all themes that resonate with the concept of spiritual enlightenment and, the pursuit of higher knowledge.
Okay, all right. So we have Serapis Bey, an ascended master, connected to these potentially extraterrestrial Vega Mystery Schools. Now, where does Epaphus fit into this whole picture?
Right.
The sources mention him as the father of the Ethiopians, but how does that connect to Serapis Bey or the mystery schools? It seems like we have separate threads here.
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Epaphus, in Greek mythology, is the son of Zeus and Io. He's said to be the ancestor of the Ethiopians, which links him directly to the African continent and, the black people of Earth.
Okay, so Epaphus, a figure from Greek mythology, is linked to the origins of black people.
Yes.
But how does that connect to Serapis Bey and these mystery schools?
That's the mystery, right? Some of the sources you've got propose a potential link between them.
Between Epaphus and Serapis Bey.
Yeah, suggesting that maybe they're one and the same, or at least connected on a deeper, perhaps even spiritual level.
Okay, now this is getting interesting. So we have Serapis Bey, an ascended master connected to the Vega Mystery Schools, and then Epaphus, a figure from Greek mythology linked to the origins of black people. And the sources are hinting at a possible connection between the two. If that's true, it could potentially link the black people of Earth to these ancient mystery schools and their extraterrestrial origins.
Exactly. It's a bold claim. It challenges conventional views of, history and spirituality. It's one that we'll need to explore more by looking at the evidence and considering the different perspectives presented in the sources.
All right, so how do we start piecing together this puzzle? What else did the sources say about this potential connection between Serapis Bey, Epaphus, and the black people of Earth?
Well, I think we should dive into the specifics of the teachings attributed to the Vega Mystery Schools, especially those branches in Sirius and the Pleiades. As I mentioned, these star systems have strong ties to ancient Egyptian mythology.
Oh, you're talking about Osiris, Isis, and Horus, right?
Exactly.
Yes, Sirius was a huge deal in ancient Egypt.
And you know what's fascinating? The Egyptian hieroglyph for Sirius includes a star and a triangle. These symbols themselves hold deeper meanings, and their presence in the hieroglyph for Sirius hints at a connection between this star system and the transmission of, well, spiritual knowledge.
A star and a triangle. Those are pretty universal symbols. What kind of knowledge are we talking about here? And how does it relate to the Black people of Earth?
That's what we'll uncover as we go deeper into the sources. One concept that keeps popping up is this idea that the Black man is God.
I've heard that phrase before.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I've always been a little hesitant to engage with it. It seems like it could be easily misinterpreted, you know?
It's definitely important to approach it with sensitivity, with an understanding of the context. The sources suggest that this statement isn't meant to be taken literally, but rather points to a deepened understanding of consciousness, of our connection to the universe.
So it's more about recognizing a divine spark within all beings, no matter their race or background.
Exactly. Yeah. And in the context of our deep dive here, it raises a question. Could this concept, this understanding of Black man as God, be connected to the teachings of the Vega Mystery Schools, particularly as they relate to Serapis Bey and Epaphus?
That is a fascinating question. So if we connect these threads, the Vega Mystery Schools, the Ascended Master Serapis Bey, the mythological figure Epaphus as the father of the Ethiopians, and this concept of Black men as God, could this be the key to understanding a hidden connection between Black people on Earth and the cosmos?
It's a compelling possibility, one that we'll need to explore further by examining the evidence and interpretations presented in, well, all the sources you've gathered.
Right, let's dive in. Let's see what we can uncover.
One of the sources you gave me actually goes into the teachings of the 5% Nation, a group that's often linked to this idea of Black man as God. Okay. Their teachings are all about self-knowledge and understanding where you fit in the universe, you know? It's about recognizing that divine potential within, not claiming some kind of racial superiority.
That's interesting. So it aligns with what you said earlier about recognizing that divine spark in all beings.
Right.
But how does this connect back to the Vega Mystery Schools or Serapis Bey? It seems like a bit of a jump.
Maybe the connection is in the basic principles and ideas. The 5% Nation really emphasizes self-awareness, knowledge of self, and the power of the mind. These are all themes you find throughout various mystery school traditions, including those potentially connected to Vega.
So you're saying even though we don't have like direct evidence linking the 5% Nation to the Vega Mystery Schools, there's a similarity in their core teachings, like a shared wisdom that hints at a deeper connection.
Exactly. And it's worth noting that the 5% Nation also stresses the importance of symbols, language, and mathematics as tools to understand reality. This really aligns with the idea that the Vega Mystery Schools, being ancient centers of learning, probably incorporated similar concepts into their teachings.
That is a fascinating parallel. So could we say that the 5% Nation's teachings, with their focus on self-knowledge and understanding the universe, are a modern version of that ancient wisdom? The wisdom that might have originated in the Vega Mystery Schools.
It's a compelling possibility. And this brings us back to the potential link between Serapis Bey and Epaphus. If Serapis Bey was indeed an ascended master connected to the Vega Mystery Schools, and Epaphus is considered the progenitor of the Ethiopians,
right,
could this lineage point to a transmission of knowledge and spiritual understanding? Something that's echoed down through generations, influencing Black spiritual and cultural movements.
Wow, that would be an incredible connection. But how do we explain the huge distances involved? We're talking about star systems that are light years away. How could knowledge or teachings travel across such vast stretches of space?
That's where things get even more mind-boggling. Some of the sources you've got delve into ideas that challenge our usual understanding of time and space.
Okay.
They suggest that consciousness might not be limited by the physical constraints we're used to.
So are we talking about non-physical travel?
Yeah.
Communication across dimensions.
Exactly. Concepts like astral projection, remote viewing, even the idea of a collective consciousness are explored in these sources. They suggest that information and energy might be able to travel in ways we're only beginning to understand.
All right, so we're really venturing into uncharted territory here. But if these concepts hold any weight, it could explain how teachings from the Vega Mystery Schools, even those from faraway star systems like Sirius and the Pleiades, could have influenced cultures and spiritual traditions here on Earth.
Precisely. And if there is a connection between Serapis Bey and Epaphus, it could suggest that this transmission of knowledge played a part in shaping the spiritual understanding and maybe even the destiny of Black people on Earth.
Now, one of the sources mentions a really interesting connection between ancient African cultures and modern technology.
Oh.
It claims that certain elements of ancient African practices, things like divination and the use of certain materials, might have influenced the development of computers. Could this be another example of ancient wisdom from the Vega Mystery Schools, passed down through generations?
It's an intriguing possibility. The source emphasizes the use of ferric oxides in both ancient African divination rituals and in the creation of magnetic tape for early computers. This points to a connection, right?
Yeah.
Between the materials used and the basic principles of information storage and retrieval.
So are we saying that ancient Africans might have had some understanding of information technology principles, perhaps even influenced by the teachings of the Vega Mystery Schools?
Yeah.
That were later rediscovered and applied in the development of modern computers?
It's a thought-provoking idea. The source argues that these ancient African practices might have been dismissed as superstition or primitive, but actually contained a deep understanding of principles that were later used for modern technology.
Interesting.
This makes you wonder what other knowledge or insights might be hidden within ancient cultures and traditions, just waiting to be rediscovered and used for modern challenges.
It's like a treasure hunt for lost wisdom, with clues scattered throughout time and across different cultures.
Yeah.
And if there is a connection to the Vega Mystery Schools, like we're exploring, it adds a whole other level of depth to this search for knowledge.
One of the sources you provided also mentions the Lyrans.
The Lyrans.
Yeah. It's a humanoid race said to come from the Lyra star system. They're described as being connected to the Vega Mystery Schools and are believed to be ancestors of many humanoid races in the galaxy, including us.
So we're adding another layer to this already complex story. We have the Vega Mystery Schools, Serapis Bey, Epaphus, the 5% Nation, and now the Lyrans. How do they all fit together?
Well, the sources suggest that the Lyrans were involved in, seeding life on Earth, bringing with them advanced knowledge and spiritual wisdom that could have influenced the development of early human civilizations. They're often depicted as having darker skin tones, which aligns with the concept of Black people having a connection to these ancient advanced civilizations.
This is getting really fascinating.
Yeah.
We're talking about potential cosmic lineage for Black people, a connection that goes all the way back to the stars and the origins of life on Earth. It's like a hidden history that challenges everything we thought we knew about where humans come from.
And it brings us back to that concept of Black man as God. Not as a statement of racial identity, but as recognizing a deeper spiritual truth, an inherent connection to the cosmos that might be embedded in the very DNA of Black people.
Okay, so we have this potential lineage that connects Black people to the Lyrans, who are linked to the Vega Mystery Schools and the wisdom they represent. But how does that explain the diversity we see in humans today?
Right.
If we all came from the same source, why are there so many different races and cultures?
That's where the idea of reincarnation and the soul's journey comes in.
Okay.
Some of the sources suggest that our physical body is a reflection of the soul's journey. It can manifest features and characteristics from previous lives and other dimensions, maybe explaining the diversity we see among humans.
So you're saying that our current physical form might be a blend of different experiences and lineages that our soul has gathered over multiple lifetimes, and that those lifetimes could have taken place on other planets, in other dimensions, even in connection with extraterrestrial races like the Lyrans.
Exactly. It's a mind-bending idea, but it aligns with the concept that we're not just physical beings, limited to this one life. We're eternal souls on a journey of evolution and experience through time and space. And that journey, for Black people, might be intertwined with the teachings of the Vega Mystery Schools, passed down through a lineage that stretches all the way back to the stars.
Okay, we've covered a lot here. Serapis Bey, Epaphus, the 5% Nation, the Lyrans, and the Vega Mystery Schools, all woven into this intricate tapestry of potential connections. But I still have one big question. What about aliens? Where do they fit into all of this?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because one of the sources actually digs into the concept of ancient astronaut theory.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's the idea that extraterrestrials visited Earth way back in the past and influenced the development of human civilization. Think about those mysterious structures like the pyramids in Egypt or Stonehenge. Some people who believe this theory think they couldn't have been built without outside help.
I've heard of that theory, but I always thought it was a bit, out there. Is there anything credible that supports it?
It's definitely a controversial topic, and a lot of the evidence is open to interpretation. However, the source you provided offers a really interesting twist on this theory. It suggests that these extraterrestrials weren't necessarily little green men from another galaxy, but possibly black people from a technologically advanced civilization, either from Earth's distant past or maybe from another planet altogether.
Wait, hold on. So are we talking about black people as the ancient astronauts? That's a completely different way of looking at the whole alien phenomenon.
And it connects back to that idea that history, as we know it, might be incomplete.
Right.
That there might be missing pieces that could totally change our understanding of human origins and the role of extraterrestrials in our evolution.
Okay, this is really blowing my mind. We've gone from exploring these ancient mysteries and spiritual teachings to thinking about the possibility of black people as ancient astronauts.
Yeah.
It's like we're peeking through a crack in reality and getting glimpses of a much bigger and more complex story than we could have ever imagined.
And this wider view challenges us to question what we assume to be true, to consider possibilities that might seem far-fetched at first, and to be open to the idea that the truth about our past, and maybe even our future, is far more amazing and mysterious than we ever dared to dream.
You're saying that whether we're talking about ancient myths or modern physics or esoteric teachings, we're essentially trying to describe the same underlying reality, but just using different language, different frameworks.
Exactly. And some of these sources suggest that this underlying reality isn't like fixed or objective. It's more like a dynamic, always changing field of consciousness that we're all part of.
So we're all co-creating it.
Yeah. And as we become more aware of that, more conscious of our role as co-creators, I think we can tap into a greater sense of, agency and influence how things unfold in more positive ways, ways that are more aligned with who we really are.
It's like we're moving from being just passive observers to actually being active participants in the big cosmic play.
Exactly. And this change in awareness has some pretty huge implications for how we approach, everything really, from our personal lives to those big global challenges.
So it's not just about understanding the universe. It's about actually using that understanding to make the world a better place for us and for future generations.
Exactly. And as we keep exploring, we'll go even deeper into this idea of a unified field of information. We'll look at the evidence, different perspectives, and explore what it all means for how we can live more consciously, lives that are more purposeful and interconnected.
Now, we've talked a lot about the potential for us, for humans, to tap into these extraordinary abilities. But one of the sources suggests that we might be accidentally holding ourselves back through these limiting beliefs and restrictions we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like we're putting the brakes on without even realizing it.
That's a big takeaway from a lot of spiritual and esoteric traditions, the idea that we're all born with this incredible potential, but as we grow up and society kind of molds us, we start to internalize beliefs and create these limitations, things that prevent us from fully expressing who we really are.
So it's like we build these walls around ourselves, mental and emotional barriers that keep us from reaching our full potential.
Yeah, and these barriers can show up in all sorts of ways: fear, self-doubt, those beliefs about what's possible for us, even a resistance to really embracing our own unique gifts and talents.
But if we're unknowingly suppressing our potential, how do we break free? How do we tear down those walls and, step into our full power?
It's all about self-discovery, becoming more aware of our thoughts or beliefs, those patterns we get stuck in, and then making a conscious choice to let go of what's not serving us anymore. It's about seeing those limiting beliefs and challenging them, swapping them out for perspectives that are more empowering.
So it's about becoming more mindful, more aware of the stories we're telling ourselves, and then choosing to rewrite those stories in a more positive way.
Yeah. It's like we're the authors of our own reality, We can choose to edit and revise our narratives.
I like that.
And some of the sources also say that practices like meditation, mindfulness, and energy work can help to clear out those energetic blocks, help us tap into our true potential.
So it's about creating a more supportive environment within ourselves.
Yeah.
Clearing out the mental and emotional clutter that's holding us back.
Yeah.
And then allowing our true selves to emerge.
Exactly. As we go further, we'll dig deeper into these practices and techniques. We'll offer some insights and guidance on how to break free from those limitations we put on ourselves and really unlock your full potential.
This deep dive has been incredible. It's like we've gone on this whirlwind tour through the cosmos, explored the depths of human consciousness, and discovered hidden connections between ancient wisdom, modern science, and the mysteries of the universe. I mean, wow.
And as we wrap up this exploration, I want to leave you with one final thought. All the sources we've looked at suggest we're living in a really special time, a time of massive change and awakening. That veil between what we can see and what's hidden, it's getting thinner. The boundaries of reality are, well, blurring. And we're being called to step into a greater understanding of who we truly are and those infinite possibilities that are out there waiting for us.
It's like we're right on the edge of a new era, one where the old ways of thinking are breaking down and a new world is emerging. A world where we recognize our interconnectedness, our power to create together, and our ability to create a future that's more just, more sustainable, and more enlightened for ourselves and for everyone who comes after us.
Yeah, and the way to navigate this time of transition, is to cultivate an open mind, a curious heart, to be willing to question what we think we know and to embrace new ways of seeing things. It's about remembering that we're not just watching. We're active participants in this grand cosmic play, and our thoughts, our beliefs, even our actions, they all have the power to shape the world around us.
So as we come to the end of this deep dive, I really encourage you to keep exploring these ideas. Go deeper into the mysteries that speak to you, and trust your intuition as you go on this incredible journey of self-discovery and awakening.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. May your path be full of wonder, insight, and a deep sense of connection to the infinite mystery of existence.